come in.
I'd like to call the January 30th, 2020 Park and Rec Commission meeting to order. First thing, it looks like we do have a quorum. Everybody's here tonight, it looks like, so it's standing. Second thing would be approval of the minutes. Looking for a motion.
Motion to approve.
A motion, a second?
Second.
Okay, a motion, second. Any discussion, any issues? No? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, anybody? Okay, motion carries. Second thing is unfinished business, library rec center build-out update. Is that gonna be Nick and Jay, or Nick and Nick, and,
I can start.
Yeah.
Some highlights and, so we recently met as a staff to go over strategies on efforts moving the project forward and got Mike up to speed, because obviously he'll be more involved with this project. Now, on February 13th, Kiwanis has voted on, our submitted funding request. They're gonna give a final vote, so we're eager to hear back, from them,
Which Kiwanis thing?
early.
I looked
The
like it.
advisors, yeah. So that's on the 13th, like I said, February. We started the preliminary process of seeking donations through our online program registration software, RecTrack. Kind of give you an example, when a patron registers for a program, they'll have the opportunity to contribute an additional $5 to their total to support the rec center. We hope to go live with that in March, and we'll present more details at our February commission meeting and ask for or seek approval of a resolution at that time. So just kind of give an FYI in that, and like I said, we'll explain more in detail in February, but it'll kind of give us a little opportunity, initiative to, awareness is probably more the main focus on it, but obviously it'll help gain a little support too in donations for the project. The library has discussed the facility usage agreement and presented a draft. As a staff, we discussed some of the issues at hand, such as rent payment, in-kind services that our department already provides the library, and other services that we could potentially expand on, such as snow removal and consulting. Efforts will continue amongst the library staff, our staff, to iron out these details. Staff is preparing materials in order to seek permission from City Council to bid the project on the 17th council meeting. And the highlights, the updates, if anybody else has anything to add from our staff.
Go ahead.
We actually staff met this week, Monday, like Nick had mentioned, to kind of bring me up to speed with what is going on. Probably by about 7 o'clock tomorrow morning, I'll be about knee deep in this project, where I want to get through some of the financials, things like that, and then set up a meeting with Amy over at the library, probably Amy and Brad. They know me, I know them, but not on this project. So that discussion I look forward to. And like Nick said, I'll be at council on the 17th for permission to bid the project. Construction's been handed over to Cindy. Cindy's working with Zimmerman Design to get specs and details ready to go out for bid. We don't have a specific bid date yet. Cindy has a couple of grant applications for the west of Riverwalk. She needs to get completed before the library work, so she's lining up her deadlines and her priorities and things like that. So I think the project's gonna be pretty cool when it's finished, so.
timeline with Mutual Mall, we're still cool with that, is that correct?
We are, there's an agenda item on the February 3rd council agenda to add the developers asking for a revision to the timeline. I'll just say it like that, it's something that the council will review, and it won't step up the timeline, it'll allow
Okay.
some more time for us
Excellent.
to progress through.
We should be able to get through the dance season and the recital. and
That's
all that,
where
and
I was going with that,
Yep.
so we're covered for this year, and
So
it
we
might
work-
work out perfectly with the fundraising and the library and everybody else to get the money ready to roll. Okay. Any more discussion at all on this?
Phase 2, we don't know when that's gonna start, right? No idea.
No, not at this point in time. Phase 1, obviously, we're kind of in not the infant stage, but we're getting ready for bid. Maybe once those bids come back, might have a better handle on what the future might look like.
But phase 1 will be able to operate in there.
Oh, yeah.
Cindy doesn't want to hear about phase 2.
Yeah, so obviously
That would be
construction will summer.
library. Not
Once
parks.
September 1st, hopefully we'll be able to cut the ribbon, do the
usage is gonna play into phase two, how often the library finds themselves using it, and, you know, the rec department being in there, and then as far as conflicts for, we need more space, that'd be a great problem to have, to be talking about phase two sooner than later.
Okay, anything else? Okay. Next on the agenda is Riverwalk update. Cindy.
Okay, there's been some stuff going on. We have a meeting with the DNR this next week to look at the floodplain modeling. After that, they can submit it to the DNR, after we're all on the same page on that. So I'll come back with more information on that later. We had a meeting with utilities in December. We Energies finished their design, which they've been working on for a year and a half. And we still don't have final pricing on that, but hopefully soon. So we're waiting. We also had AT&T and Charter at that meeting because they have facilities on that side of the river also. So we're waiting to get pricing and plans for those utilities. I'm told AT&T should have them for us in February and March sometime. And hopefully we should get some stuff back from Charter by the next 2 weeks. So their construction schedule is they are planning, we have to remove the cantilever on that side of the river, and all of the pavers, so that's gonna be a mess for a while. And we've been talking to the business owners so they realize that. All those light poles will be moved, all the vegetation along the river, everything will be ripped up. We Energies is planning on starting construction in June. They expect their stuff to last 4 months. And they are installing conduit for AT&T and Charter at the same time. When they're done, AT&T and Charter will come in and dig it up again where they need to make connections and put their wires through those conduit and reconnect up to buildings. They'll have service the whole time, but they just need to make those connections and then disconnect everything after that. So that's 2020. 2021, we are planning on doing construction of the Riverwalk south of the north pedestrian bridge. 2022 is everything north of the north pedestrian bridge. So I've been applying for grants. We sent in a multimodal local supplement grant, which they had 75 million. There was like over $1 billion worth of projects applying for funding for that. So I don't have a lot of hope we're gonna get money from that, but we asked for 2.25 million as a minimum. They wanna know what you have to have for a minimum to make the project go forward. And if you get that grant, you can't apply for any other grants. So that's a one-shot deal. So I also submitted a transportation alternative program grant from the DOT for phase 3 of the project, which is everything north of the North Pedestrian Bridge, for a little over $2 million, which is about the maximum that they told us you should apply for. That's an 80-20 match, if we would get awarded that, unless they remove some costs that might be ineligible, or unless they adjust, there's a state review cost that they tack onto your project, because they have an independent engineering firm review all of that. So what happens is that I submitted that grant January 24th. Sewer PAC, which is the Transportation Management Area entity that selects the projects for finalizing, they will do that in February, but we're part of the Southeastern Wisconsin Regional Planning Commission area, so we likely will not get any money for that area, but then all of the projects go to statewide competition. And then that moves into that process in April. Then they select those projects in May and June, so we probably won't know until July or August of this year if we're getting any money from that. So we have to just keep applying for grants. So we met today with Fund for Lake Michigan. They gave us $100,000 for design of the east or the west side, if you recall. And Casey Eggleston was really, positive about applying for money from them. But what they do is work with Sustain Our Great Lakes grant, which is a national grant, and it's for this Great Lakes area. So that's through the National Wildlife Federation. So we're gonna be applying for that. I don't know how much yet, but it's only for green infrastructure, so it can't be for a whole project, it's only for some parts of the project. So if we don't get money from them, it moves to Fund for Lake Michigan. So we're kind of working with all of these. We don't know how much that would be worth, but that's like for pervious pavers, tree pits, bioinfiltration basins, things like that. So that grant is due February 11th. If they invite you to go further, the full proposal's due in March. If that is chosen to go ahead for selection process, then they tell you in mid-March if you're selected to go ahead, then the full proposals are due April 16th, and the grants are awarded in August. So those projects, the grants awards are ranging from $100,000 to $1 million. So, but it's just the green infrastructure part, so I don't know how much we can apply for yet from that. So that's the grant stuff and the Riverwalk stuff.
Quick question, Cindy.
Sure.
On the east side, what percentage was grant money? 50%?
We got 1.2 million from the DNR, and then there was another $360-some thousand from DOT because that North Pedestrian Bridge was included in that with the
Okay.
grant applications. So about $1.6 million out of like the $2.7 million.
So pretty close, to a little over 50%.
Yeah.
Okay, and kind of probably look at the same, hopefully same scenario, no? Just because you got on the east side, they're not,
Well, we've
okay.
also talked to DNR about applying for stewardship grants, and they recommended we apply for stewardship grant for the south chunk, which would be phase 2, and a stewardship grant for the north chunk, which would be phase 3.
Okay,
But because that all has to go to joint finance committee, there's no telling how they would react to those kind of grant applications. It looks like Jay wants to say something
Well,
about it.
just a clarification, that it's not like, we're not likely to receive funds.
what we got on the,
In those, yeah,
Okay.
we were fortunate for the east side, we've definitely got on the radar of joint finance and some political fighting at the state level. And our representatives did a good job of maintaining most of the grant request or most of the grant award the second time, but we did take $100,000 haircut over some political fighting with our last grant. And they basically put us on notice that without great political support, you won't receive grants like this again. So at some point, I mean, you guys will all be a part of that when we are applying and ask you to
Call
be,
year.
yep, to be in the year of Guntram and Strobel for sure, that kind of stuff helps. So, we'll keep you posted as to the timing of.
good, tell us when. Okay, I mean,
Yeah.
it's important,
Oh,
it is.
It
I
is.
know both Gundermans. They're on my phone.
How'd you get in there?
Gunderman's, yeah, we'll talk after the meeting. They know me.
Any more discussion on this? No. Okay. New business, all right. The appointment of Mike Yentz as our Director of Parks, Recreation, and Forestry.
Well, this is a pretty exciting item.
I agree.
Mike, it's with great pleasure I recommend the appointment of Mike Yench as the next Director of Parks, Recreation, and Forestry. It's been a pleasure to work with Mike the last 6 or so months, more closely than we have in the past. I've known Mike, obviously, my entire time being here at the city, and have appreciated his candid approach and ability to get things done, and it's no doubt in my mind that this is the right recommendation for the city, for the Parks Department, for this commission to have Mike as our next leader. I know he's prepared to say a few words, but I just want you all to know that it's with a high recommendation that I
Yes.
recommend this appointment to you to pass forward, and you know the process. You get to review it tonight and
Yep.
then make a recommendation back to the council for final approval, and that's on our agenda already. Steve's authorized that to be on the agenda for the February 3rd
Yeah,
meeting.
for Monday.
This coming
Monday,
Monday.
which
Yep.
is outstanding. I mean,
Yep.
boom, boom, hopefully. But, and I'm gonna second what Jay said. So we put some effort and time, discussions. This just wasn't at the end of the day, say, let's do this. And, he's a West Bend guy. He's gonna fit the scenario. He knows all the people involved here. So I'm very proud to recommend him also.
Well, thank you, gentlemen. Again, I'm pretty excited, like really excited about this opportunity. Like Mike mentioned, I am from West Bend. I grew up in West Bend. I mean, to be quite honest with you, I've worked for every parks director the city's ever had, from Gary Anderson all the way up. So for me to be sitting in this chair, have this opportunity, is this something I thought of 20 years ago? Probably not, but today, I think it'd really be an awesome opportunity for me. I'm very proud of West Bend, very proud of where we're going as a community. I like the progress downtown, really excited about everything we're doing in Regner Park, and, you know, so we're moving forward, we really are as a community. Already told staff I'm really excited about working with them. I want to talk about some dedicated professionals that are just absolutely willing to do anything at any point in time, from projects, special events, rec programs, Courtney out at the Conservancy, Carolyn and Karen running the office up here. Really, really very fortunate to have staff members like this here leading the way for our department. There would be some transition down at the Park and Forestry Workshop. Dan Farver and Kevin Lisco would assume daily operations down there. Dan mainly for forestry, Kevin for park and property management maintenance. I would still be involved, especially early on. I'm not just gonna be like, hey, see you later, I'm going to City Hall. So, yeah. Those guys will probably do a lot better job when I'm not around, maybe sometimes, so. No, Dan and Kevin, we're gonna have to bring them through this transition a little bit. Also, they are already leaders on our staff, they are already lead men. If I'm absent or anything else like that, everything goes to them anyway. So some of this is not new to them. Not having me there day to day, that would be new. But it's not like I'm moving out of state or anything else like that. I still want to be really hands-on with some of our special events. July 4th celebration, things like that. Mud Run, Regner Fest, that whole 2-week period. My calendar is already blocked out as tentative to any meetings or anything during probably almost a 3-week window, because I mean those are just huge events for our department. I want to be out there and make sure it happens. So, so if this does go through, I thank you for the opportunity, and I mean I would certainly take any questions right now also if you'd have any.
Without further ado, I make a motion, we approve the recommendation of Mike Jens as the next director of the Park Recreation and Forestry Department.
We had a motion, we got a second, any more discussion?
I'll just say that anytime we can promote from within, you know, it's great.
Beautiful.
And, yeah, I know you'll do a great job.
Thanks, Mike.
Anybody else? No.
I haven't been here long, but I think that you do a good job. You always get
Thanks.
good reports and keeping people up to date, so I'm totally happy with that as
Thank
well.
you.
And I was excited as well.
He did.
Figured
And I-
that.
And I'm hoping also, that, no, I mean, I like to meet with each of the commissioners if you guys want, sit down, you know, get to know each other a little bit, so, you know, get your feelings on where we're going, where West Bend's going, and
Like I said, I think Mike said it best. The police department, weren't you proud when you promoted somebody within
Oh, heck
to the next level? I mean,
It's the best way to do it.
it's the best way to do it, so,
I mean, you purposely groom people
there you go.
for the next positions.
Perfect. Well, if discussion is over, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries.
thank you.
Thank you. Do we have to do a motion for the new job title at all? Is there, because they've changed a few things in here, that just goes along with, okay, just wanna make sure. All right, so we have reports, Chairman, the only thing I'd like to say is, so Mike's in front of the council on Monday the 3rd. I don't know where he's in the agenda, I'm gonna believe
I
it's,
haven't looked at it.
It's kind of in the middle, eh?
is it?
I think it's
So-
right at the consent agenda from that.
That's, I think it's, yeah, so it's a 6 o'clock meeting, if anybody's there to support Mike, I think. 6:25 is when the, okay, so if anybody has some time off and wants to support Mike, I think it'd be great, cheer him on, whatever. If
If we get enough people there, the mayor will move it up a little earlier in the agenda.
Yeah, he's got some pull.
I was gonna say,
We're going to.
I suppose
All right.
Depends on where.
Now you're talking. So, and that's the only thing I have going today, so, Mike Weston, anything going
A
on?
bunch of us went to the council meeting, last month. There was a proclamation for Jim for.
Yes.
For all his, 60 years or whatever on the planning. Board. Congratulations.
Yeah,
70.
I also-
60.
I went to the luminary walk too the other day. I was really impressed. That was the first time I've seen it. That hill got really slippery. Is
Yeah.
that always that bad? It just happened to be that we had to warm up and everything.
The little warmer temperatures, snow got a little tacky, and
Yeah.
it packed really nice.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm glad you came.
yeah, it was interesting.
It was a full house.
Yeah, there was a lot of people there.
Yeah, over 700 people came.
Whoa, outstanding, wow. Good.
That's all I have.
Thanks, Mike. Quarterly trust report, is that gonna be Jay or who's the money guy?
The report's in your packet.
It's in packet, is
If
there
you have
any questions?
Questions, concerns?
There's one item I'd like to mention. Carolyn educated me today in the PARC account. I'll say in that $65,000, a little over 9,800 of that is for EAB plantings. Those are donations we've received over the years. Also, right now, almost $43,000 in that is still earmarked for Quas Creek ball field development. But when that development is done, we can then convert that money back over to general PARC funds. So we just need to kind of work with our finance department, right, Carolyn? And basically take it from earmarked for ball diamond development back to just general use. So Carolyn did a real nice job over the past 5 or 6 months, really finding every donation and line item all the way through, so.
The original agreement was that
So.
the balance would go back to the PARC
Yep.
fund for general use, so.
So once we do that, basically we would have 9,800 for EAB plantings, the rest would be for general use projects, whatever the commission would deem necessary, so, which is good news.
Any other questions on the trust report? And I apologize, Carolyn gave me instructions and I forgot it within 5 minutes. Our July meeting, July 30th, is not going to work because some people can't make it. So if you want to look at your schedule for July 23rd, it's the Thursday before. So just look it over, and if it doesn't work, email Carolyn or whatever, but it did move, or it's going to move from the 30th to the 23rd.
Our summer wrap-up is that now, so come up to right here, see a good show. Jackie,
Yep.
look up now,
All right,
Wait, summer wrap, is that the 23rd?
23rd.
23rd,
30th is a wrap up.
30th is the summer wrap
Yeah.
up, so.
so it's being moved to the 23rd.
23rd is going to be the commission meeting. All right.
Yeah, thanks.
Conservation Supervisor Courtney.
Yeah, a couple exciting things coming up with the Conservancy. We touched base on the Luminary Walk. Like we said, had over 700 people in attendance, so it was a really, really good turnout. Very happy with how it went. We have Snowshoe Saturday coming up, February 8th, and a couple weekends, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. The Conservancy has 110 free pairs of snowshoes, so we hope to see people from the community come out and borrow those for the day. I will be there all day, so come see me. Another exciting thing coming up, I met with the Volunteer Center of Washington County this week, and we have an Arbor Day event with their Do Good bus coming up on April 11th. They're gonna be coming out and helping us plant trees. We have 25 trees planted in the goat area, so that should be a fun time. And a new program that I'm gonna be starting in May, Second Saturday Stewards. I got a lot of feedback since I started from people who work during the week and would like to volunteer on a weekend. So I'm going to offer now one Saturday a month, the second Saturday. We're gonna have stewards, so you can come out and there's gonna be various stuff that we're gonna work on. So I will post more about that on our Facebook page and our website with those details, but just wanted to mention that. We do officially have our Memory Cafe kickoff coming up Wednesday, May 20th. That is gonna be the third Wednesday of the month going forward, year-round. That will be held in our Marin Center, and that's something that I confirmed this week with the Aging and Disability Resource Center at Washington County. We will be in their resource booklet, so if you go to their Alzheimer's dementia section, we will be listed as one of the 4 Memory Cafe locations with my contact information. So if anybody has any questions, they can reach out to me. And we also will be affiliated with the Alzheimer's Association under their Memory Cafe locations. They will be attending some of our meetings as well. And just wanted to mention that I am offering a new rec class coming this spring and summer that's going to be open to families who are home with like young infants all the way up to school aged, because I have gotten some feedback that we offer classes like that 3 to 5 age range, but say there's a mom or dad home, they want to get out and hike, meet people, whether they're wearing their infant or pushing them in a jogging stroller. So it's going to be more of a like all ages, we can get out and go hiking together so they can meet other families, and get some exercise. So that will be in our rec book that's coming out this spring, so take a look for that when that comes out. Any questions or?
When is the next goat experience gonna be?
No goats,
Oh,
just tree planting coming up.
Yes.
Just
Any questions for Courtney?
highlight of the year.
Thanks, Courtney.
Yes.
Tourism and event coordinator Jackie.
Going along with the Luminary Walk, the entire day is a planned event that we've been moving forward for a few years. I've been working with the Downtown Diva organization. Last year we started this event, it was called Winter Warm Up. This year we brought in the downtown members decided to do have ice sculptures. And then we sponsored Parks, Rec and Forestry. The city sponsored an actual sculptor in downtown. We also had a fat tire bike race in Regner Park on Saturday. And with the proceeds, they sold beer and had Hammerschlagers and things down. It was crazy. There was over 200 fat tire bike riders, if you had a chance, if any of you saw it. But Regner Park was really rocking on Saturday. And they were, the money that they raised selling beer and whatnot, this is all in association with Wheel and Sprocket, is going to go eventually towards some of the renovations at the Glacial Blue Hills Park. It's the bike people. They're very close knit, and if you recall, when we had our meeting in the council chambers, when we had something to do with bikes, and there were, the council chamber was packed full. So it's a very passionate group of people, but they're also really effective and really efficient. Mike and I worked closely, and Jay actually worked very closely with the bike organization people. They were out there 2-3 weeks ahead, grooming the trails, the bike trails that they were going to use in Regner Park. They had a snowmobile and a tracker, and then fortunately we got snow right before. So it was really, really a cool event, and they want to come back, and we're going to try to talk them into 2 days maybe, but overall it was really a cool event. So sum total, we had about 200 people bike racing in Regner Park. We had over 700 people in Loch Laren Conservancy, and what we did is we tried to connect all of the events by marketing it all together, so that people didn't want to go watch crazy people ride bikes in the snow and ice. Then they could go hike in at Loch Laren, or they could go play sheep's head up at the Columbian and have a spaghetti dinner, or they could go downtown and watch the ice sculptor and watch the ice skating, look at all the ice sculptures. So that those type of events are really good for us to be promoting in the city. They're not a load on any one individual. It's not like the city of West Bend is putting on a winter warm-up and it's going to cost us $10,000. Every group and organization sponsored some of it. We even had an ice sculpted chainsaw in front of the tennis building. So got a picture with him with the ice we had a lot of buy-in, and we're hoping we had 9 ice sculptures. We're hoping that next year we can double that number. We had people downtown all day long. We had people walking in the parks. We had people in Old Settlers Park. It was just a very cool. Plus, we had wonderful weather, so that accounts. We always say we well-organized events, but if it would have been 30 below and 20-mile-an-hour winds, we would have had no one. So, but nonetheless, so that's that for the event. But it's a good kind of event that we have, because it doesn't require any one organization to dump in a ton of money or a ton of manpower. But I couldn't have done it without park staff. They were out there at 7 a.m. shoveling off steps in Old Settlers Park. They were plowing the Regner Park parking lots. Both parking lots, the Main Street and the Park Avenue, were full, completely full. So that was very cool. This is always the weird time of year, transitioning here. We're in the dead of winter here, and it's gray and horrible, and there's no sun, and we're actually doing all of our planning for the summer. So you get kind of crazy, because you're doing one thing and thinking about hot and weather and nice things, and then you walk outside and you go, no. Our summer book is coming out on March 13th in the West Bend Daily News and March 15th in the West Bend Post. It comes out about 2 weeks prior to that as an electronic flip book as well. So we're just in the finalization of the activities book. It goes to print in like a week or two. And then it takes a while for them to distribute. So we're working on that. That's enough. Question?
Yeah, question. I think this winter warm-up weekend is just a fantastic idea, and to get all that activity in there. But one thing that occurred to me, I'd heard about this, I didn't know we were having bike races or anything else, until a friend of mine from Waukesha mentioned that his nephew or somebody like that was involved in it, and they really thought it was really neat, and what have you. And but then it occurred to me, because as you alluded to now, this was done somewhat in conjunction with Will and Sprocket. I think did they assume the liability? Is there any liability issues we have to worry about?
No, they actually came in prior to this, and I had to work with them very closely with the bike organization. The Friends of Parks and Rec actually sponsored the beer sales for it. So they were, I know, but all of those things enter into liability. So Friends of Park and Rec assumed the liability on the alcohol serving, permitting, and that kind of thing. So they took care of that. Wheel and Sprocket actually has their own, they have an organization, it's a nonprofit, so they actually had to come in with a bond, because we won't allow any event to come in without a bond. So in addition to that, they also had medical people on staff, and they had a whole emergency action plan, EAP, so.
Because we had not known anything about it. Like I said, I found out about it from
Right.
when my friend called me after the fact, and I sat and smiled and said,
Yeah,
sure.
didn't know about it.
Yeah, I
Was
guess.
it Wheel and Sprocket, or was it the Gears Group?
It's actually the Gears group.
Yeah.
Wheel and Sprocket has the Fat Tires bikes, so they rent out, if you want to, just race. Most of these people come in. There were people, we saw Illinois license plates, Minnesota license plates, it cracked me up. They're passionate people, and they spend a lot of money on those bicycles, but
3,000 to start.
It's
Yeah.
like a circuit right to it.
yeah, it's like a circuit, they have like 4 or 5, but, so Wheel and Sprocket actually operates it, because they have it, it's kinda like the bike race in the summertime, it's bike race in a box. But the organization was the Friends of Parks and Rec, and also then the organization of the local bike people.
And my fear is if somebody kind of hit a tree or something,
Yeah,
the
no,
Pigeon Society.
they have to
What
come
protection
up with
system?
I
bonds.
saw that snowmobile driving around down there the night before, and I was gonna call about it, but I figured.
Who's driving down the
I
park?
figured that, making a path or whatever.
And we
Mike
had-
Weston.
Yeah.
we had-
Keep an eye on things.
We had, from the get-go on all of this, we had, really good cooperation with police. We had really great cooperation with fire. I mean, so everyone was notified. The problem is that it really kicked into high gear in between commission meetings. So, it won't happen again though, sir.
So I've been telling everybody that the talented park crew made that sculpture on the triangle, but it was actually
You
professionals.
can keep telling them.
Yes, I would suggest that.
And if you go down there, now the last time, it was still up when I last looked, like 2 days ago,
Yeah,
because
well-
it'll stay up until it melts. But it's all logoed out, so West Bend Winter Warm Up on the top, it's a picture frame.
It is pretty impressive.
So, and then you stand
If
behind,
our
you
guy
get
said
your
it would
picture
be
taken,
a tree
it's
stump.
West Bend Parks and Recreation below and Winter Warm Up above,
This was an
so
ash tree.
Right.
we're all about marketing.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so it was good, pretty good event.
Anything else for Jackie? Well, thanks, Jackie, appreciate it.
Thanks.
Recreation Supervisor, Nick.
January programs and updates, we got winter swim lessons, they started on the January 4th and will finish up on February 29th over at the high school pool. Spring lessons will start on March 7th. Gymnastics classes started on January 11th, they're over at Silverbrook Gymnasium Saturday mornings. Women's Volleyball League is ongoing and will conclude in early March over at the university. Youth dance program resumed last week from winter break. Dance recital is April 26th over at the high school auditorium. Adult ballroom dance classes have been very popular this winter with salsa, mambo, and swing classes all filled to capacity of 24 dancers. They're in the lower level of New Mall. Music Academy classes have been ongoing on the weekends, Saturday and Sundays. That's over at the Music Academy downtown, and they will finish up on February 1st and the 2nd. And our adult youth and judo classes started on Monday the 27th, and they're over at the university.
Any questions for Nick? Thanks, Nick, appreciate it. Last time Superintendent of Parks and Forestry, Mike?
Thanks, Mike. Winter forestry work, this winter, our staff is working in districts 1 and 7 as far as pruning street trees go. Also, we are working on Scenic Drive West, the right-of-way through there. The guys started, well, a little bit last week, this week. We don't work out there unless we have dry roads. It's a little narrow, lots of traffic, things like that. But cutting all the vegetation back and along the right-of-way. They've got the west side done. They're coming back now on the east side. Also, a lot of rural right-of-ways we were working on this fall. All our ash street trees are gone, so now woodlot trees along 18th Avenue and all those areas. We're trying to get all those hazards out. Also, it's a new park signage. Kevin's built a new sign for main entrance sign for Royal Oaks LLC we redid. We're looking at the dog park. If you go out to the dog park and notice part of the sign is missing, that's supposed to be like that. That's what we do this time of the year. And one other item that might be coming before commission this year, we are working with the Athletic Association, the softball group out of Quas Creek. The 3 scoreboards out there are approximately 10 years old. We can no longer find parts for them. They're functional right now, but even one little thing last year was an LED light went out, and these are real thin, narrow LED lights and whatever. We can't find them. We can't find them from the manufacturer, eBay, the worldwide, whatever. So the Athletic Association, they also, I talked to them about the scoreboards, and they are going to discuss it next Monday at their board meeting about possibly fundraising for 3 new boards, which would be, the cost would be over $20,000. And then we'd also talk about some naming rights and things like that. So something, that discussion would come back to obviously the commission, but keep the prices down a little bit. We'll probably use the same size boards and all that, so we can use the same hardware, et cetera, et cetera. So that's what I got.
Had the same thing down at Cussfield, that all of a sudden you can't get parts.
Yeah.
And it's crazy, you think, 10, 15, whatever, but.
So we're working with 2 different companies right now. The one, Nevco is the
Yep.
board down in Regner, and then All American, which are the boards out of Quas. 2 good companies. If we need parts and service, they're there for us. So
Cool.
something we're just trying to nail down at the Athletic Association. Yes, sir.
Question for you. Do we have a timeline on deer hunt?
We do have a timeline on deer hunt. They started last night, and they will be going
Where?
Lac Loran, Ridge Run, and the county property on Schmidt Road.
All 3 of them the same night?
They will be, right now, their tentative schedule is to do it one evening a week for several weeks here, see how things go. Make a disruption, some noise, things like that. Clean things up, let things settle down, and go back at it again. So
That
just,
explains the 14 deer in my backyard the other day.
14.
Pushed them to you.
I
Yeah,
had,
the height.
it's probably the same 14 that come through my
you
yard.
stop putting out a 55-gallon drum of shell corn and probably wouldn't.
Jim's deer and your deer aren't the same.
Huh?
They're definitely not the same.
I think they follow
They
the same
do not.
track. Yeah.
No.
So,
Yeah, they come through your
Well,
yard
tonight I'm
too.
gonna find out.
it is,
60 they're trying to get?
yeah, 60.
Are they,
Oh, yeah.
Orange paint.
Come here. I make balls.
what are they doing with the meat?
The meat goes to the food pantry.
Okay,
Yep.
so they're like, they're
Yeah.
gonna
Yep,
be like
deer-
processed and
yep,
everything.
The deer are harvested, they're cleaned and taken to the food processor,
Okay.
and everything goes to the food pantry. So,
Okay.
yep, that's part of the entire program. So
Who's doing the processing this year?
they,
We don't know the name, it's not the same, it's not
That's
Schweiss
why,
got into
I
the
know,
business.
He said he was gonna do it unless he got paid. What I heard.
Well, right, and he
Yes.
lost his staff member that did that.
Right.
Remember, he got out of it this year.
so the USDA actually said they would find someone that would be actually easier for them in the evenings to drop the deer off and things like that.
More cost effective for us,
Yep.
because they were traveling that way and then
Yep.
traveling back home.
So,
This way they're just going home and dropping them.
yep. So yes, that process is.
We're using the same precautions again, like we have in.
Everything's the same, Jim, elevated stands, 2-person teams, spotter, shooter. early evenings into the evening hours.
Keeping people out of the parking.
We are not closing on the parks, but same type of scenario, same process. Yep. So,
Any other questions for Mike? All right, park project manager Cindy.
Short and sweet. The Kiwanis shelter that's going in Regner is going out to bid in February. I'm coming to the 17th meeting to ask permission to bid. Those bids should be due back in March. I gave them a completion date of July 18th, so they're hopefully done by the time the Regner or the Ninja mud run gets going in there. Tree surety project went out to bid January 24th. Bids are due back February 7th. Playground RFP is getting pushed back because of other projects, so I don't know when I'm gonna get that done. When I was working for Washington County, I was part of the Park and Open Space Plan group that looked at you have to update those park and open space plans you're supposed to do it every 5 years, but it doesn't get done that often. So I was asked to continue on that, and that was completed this last week. It's a benefit to the city because I make sure if we've got any projects that can be put in there, that they're specifically mentioned for grant applications for future. And then there's corrections that you make. So that was a good experience that was finished up. If you get a chance to look at it, the draft will be out pretty soon, and it will get adopted by the county board pretty soon then too. Anyway, so we're supposed to update ours in a couple of years, so that'll be, can look at that for kind of a basis on some of the newer requirements for those. So that was a good thing to do. That's it.
Any other questions for Cindy? All right, Jay, you're up.
All right, well, it's my last interim report. I'm excited for that. I thanked you in November for welcoming me to your group and staff for the same. I'll do that one more time and say thanks for the winter warm-up. That was really, really cool. Jackie did a great job of explaining how many people were, but there were people everywhere. The park was packed, Regner was packed, downtown was packed. I played sheephead with many people that were of my age and older for the most part. There were two 12-year-old boys that were in attendance of the 216. It was so cute, and they got more attention than anybody because everybody came up to them and thanked them for carrying on their tradition. And I know it wasn't a city event, but what Jackie said, that was just part of the group, was to advertise all of the things that are going on in the community that weekend, and to see 216 people in the Columbian was really awesome after seeing the downtown folks. And MOA had a opening of their exhibit at the same time, and it was just a really cool event that Jackie started and built on this year, and it was awesome to see. I didn't make it out to Lac La Ronde after the sheephead thing, but hearing another 700 people out there is just awesome in West Bend Park. So thanks to park staff for doing that. The people are continuing to use the trails. The fat tire bikes are still out there, which is kind of an interesting thing post weekend that I think is cool. I don't know how long they'll do that. I suppose as long as the conditions
stays, sure.
stays decent. Driving through the parking lot, Jackie mentioned the Illinois plates. That was really cool to see. If they are serious about a two-day event next year, that
They asked me about it.
Yeah, they talked to me about it.
they can be applying for a tourism grant through the fall, winter. That's something that we can have more conversations about with, but we do have tourism money available to them for that. No new news on the Cusfield MLB grant, unfortunately. I did talk to Chuck Brady this week in anticipation of this meeting and asked him if he had heard anything. He has not as of yet. He did share with me that doesn't mean bad news, it just means no positive news to report that we have the grant and we're ready to roll. He said if we were kicked out, we would have heard that we were out and we weren't receiving funding. So he encouraged me that not receiving negative news is certainly better than that alternative.
There you
Right,
go.
yeah, in that case, I think that's true,
Right.
Jim. And so he's still hopeful. He still thinks that we have a really good chance of have a project. It's the only project, we talked about this here before, that they are recommending for funding from their Cal Ripken Senior Foundation group. And just as soon as that money comes in, we believe we have enough money to do the field. So we'll keep you all posted. Mike will keep you posted from a director role moving forward. I'll not be a stranger and still attend when it makes sense to attend these park commission meetings, but I just wanted to, I guess, end by saying thanks, and you have a great park staff. I know you know that. I know that now more than ever after
Yeah.
serving as the interim for the last 6 or so months, and it's been a real pleasure. Thank you.
Outstanding. My mom will second your sheepshead game. She was there and she said the spaghetti was so good. So anyway, so.
And she won like 8th place or something.
Oh
like that. I don't know
no!
if she
Did you have to
told
listen?
that, but
Oh
I
god.
heard.
Okay.
I heard the sterile name. I assumed
Okay.
it was her.
Yeah, it was her. So. Is there anything else for the good of the park commission tonight? If not, meeting's adjourned. Thanks, everybody.